Our new song is available for pre-order at getcominghome.com. Check it out. Download iTunes to pre-order and support our work. From Newsweek, Elon Musk suspends reporter who published J.D. Vance dossier. For those that aren't familiar, Iran hacked the Trump campaign. They found this opposition, well, it's not opposition research, but they did vetting research on J.D. Vance to determine if he was going to be a good VP. In it, there are some negative things or things they think may be weaknesses. Iran hacks the Trump campaign, sends the info to the Democrats, to Biden and Harris, trying to get them to use it. They said they're not going to go near it. Apparently, but then they're working with the feds. The feds are like, yes, Iran's trying to interfere in the election. It's a malign influence campaign, they call it. So a bunch of journalists get access to this, and they all decide because sharing this will interfere in the election and assist Iran in their efforts, we won't publish it. Well, rest assured, you'll get some woke journalist who hates J.D. Vance who decides he's going to publish it anyway. And he did. Ken Klippenstein has been suspended. It may be permanent. Newsweek says for the X account of journalist Ken Klippenstein was suspended on Thursday following the release of the dossier about J.D. Vance that was allegedly from an Iranian government hack. Here's the dossier the media refused to publish, he wrote in a post earlier. He's a former reporter at The Intercept, published the dossier to his Substack website about 3 hours prior to his account suspension. So we actually have his post here. We're not going to pull up the dossier. But the J.D. Vance dossier includes his social security number, home address, phone number, and a bunch of private information that should have been redacted. And there were a lot of leftists and liberals who are pointing this out, saying that WikiLeaks publishes information all the time, and they painstakingly redact private information to protect the individual. If there's something newsworthy, you don't need to publish the phone number. This guy didn't do that. And that's basically why he got taken down. Here's what he says. Behold the dossier. It reportedly comes from an alleged Iranian government hack of the Trump campaign, and since June, the news media has been sitting on it, declining to publish in fear of finding itself at odds with the government's campaign against foreign malign influence. I disagree. The dossier has been offered to me, and I decided to publish it because it's of keen public interest in election season. It's a 271-page research paper the Trump campaign prepared to vet now vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance. As far as I can tell, it hasn't been altered. Even if it was, its contents are publicly verifiable. I'll let it speak for itself. Quote, the terror regime in Iran loves the weakness and stupidity of Kamala Harris and is terrified of the strength and resolve of Donald Trump. Stephen Chung, communications director for the Trump campaign, responded when I asked about the hack. If the document had been hacked by some anonymous hacker group, the news media would be all over it. I'm just not a believer of the news media as an arm of the government doing its work combating foreign influence. I'm going to pause right there and say, you're a scumbag, Ken. That's not true. You published it because you wanted attention for your website. When the Steele dossier came out, and you make the argument, well, the Steele dossier was BS. Yes. And even though that came from Clinton and it came from domestic sources, news outlets still decided not to publish it until BuzzFeed and all their scumbaggery decided to publish nonsense garbage. Every journalist basically was aligned saying there's no reason to publish this. It wasn't obtained in any reasonable way, and it's private campaign materials. But you know what? I hope you get new subscribers. How about that?
Yeah, it does seem like a very self-serving move. Any kind of claim to being an honorable journalist who's doing this for the public good seems obviously a cover-up for poor judgment and a lack of ethical standards.